Here we are. Let us try out some of this new chroma keying features in Wirecast. You'll see, obviously, I've got my green screen up and running. Lighting is not really the best. I've got a light here, and then natural daylight coming in on this side. Bit of a warm, bit of a cooler, and then obviously the massive amount of cool light coming in from this side. So we're going to take a look at how it's handling, obviously, a cool green into a warm green. And taking a look at the refinements and some of the improvements here. I've been able to dive in a little bit to this just to make sure that I'm aware of what each little thing does, or at least what I think each one does, and we'll go from there. So, getting into it, we obviously have our Wirecast up and running here. This is the latest beta, and all I've done is basically thrown in the camera that is the same camera that's going into the recording here, so you can see the difference between the two. I have this coming in. The other thing that I want to do is actually go in and just allow you to have a better view. So I'm going to say output the Blackmagic output to a different display, and I'm going to be able to capture that. To do that, all I'm doing is I'm basically saying don't draw any labels, make sure it's the live and there's only one shot, and just have it the live preview out so it's the actual output and not that stuttering little thing. This will let me do a chroma key so that I can show you both the settings and the result of what I'm doing. So essentially, let's get down to it. We have the settings here of what the chroma key looks like, the new one. It does have a couple new sliders, and then obviously we can go back into color key and luma key. Luma key is more of a lightness and brightness, so you can actually say what's the black and white clip only, and then if you want to adjust the edge coloring, this is where you do that. Color key has a lot less refinement to it. This is basically like you are picking a single color. Here's how much variance off of that you can choose. And then like an edge coloring and making sure that you're doing like an edge detection of removing tinting from the edges. So what we're focusing on is chroma key. Now, aside from the fact that using chroma key here, it's going to default to white, it does change it up to what it thinks is the default color, or what it thinks is the color that it should be using. In this case, obviously, it's coming up to an RGB value here. Now, for me, I do like seeing that they have done like an auto try for this. And you can see if I push this live, it is doing a kind of a good job. But what I'm going to do, just to make sure that we have an understanding of what's happening, I've got a red shirt on, and then we have green background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, take a background as a solid color, and let's just use the default blue. Holding shift, I'm just going to make a nice large box around that and push that live. So now, if I go in and I say, put that live, you can obviously see down in the bottom corner here, there's a bit of a weird spot. This is a good way of doing this, but what's very interesting is that they have a new property in the green screen, the display. This very, very handy. It's something that I would essentially use the blue to do previously. But what you can do is you can say, great, show me the alpha channel, and give that alpha channel in white here. This is going to give you that ability to see what's happening a little bit better along the edge. Obviously, you're seeing a little bit still down in that bottom corner right here, but we'll be able to refine that momentarily. So kind of really nice to see. It gives you that high contrast, and obviously you can use white or black depending upon the background color that you're trying to apply this to. Already off the bat, I am seeing really nice lines, even though the lighting isn't really the greatest. The input obviously is 1080p 60, but yeah. So let's try doing a little couple things. First and foremost, I like to use 00FF00 for a lot of the stuff I do. This makes it 100% green. It's only ever removing green. There's no way that's going to use any blues or reds at all. But what that does mean is that the control on the refinement is a little bit more fine. This is a personal preference. It is not something that I would recommend other people to do. It works the best if the color of your camera is neutral and you have gone to a neutral gray. I am seeing different colors on different monitors here, but my camera should be color balanced and white balanced. So having this to be that 00FF00, which in RGB is green, should work just fine. What we can do is then readjust that threshold to be outputting at a high quantity. Now, I don't want to go ramping this up over the top, because then you're going to see the little like edges on the hair going all the way. What we want to do is we want to pull that back just to the point where we start to see, as you can see here, that bottom right-hand corner of the video here, Yeah, we want to just barely get rid of that, really. That's the level that we want to be at. From there, obviously, we can make any type of adjustments to the clipping. Now, ideally, you wouldn't want to have any variance on this, so I'm going to actually take this and say, you know what, take that all the way out. That was interesting. Thank you, Wirecast, for the flashing. And then I'm going to do the same for the white. Now, the clipping here is the threshold in which you can have a variance on that. If I pull that up, you're going to see any of the lighter colors, it's going to start showing. And then the same thing for the black clip. Any of the black clip, it's going to start showing more, depending upon that variance, of green in the pixels themselves. So the closer you can have, or the smaller section cropped out that you can have of the black clip and white clip, the better the color refinement is. But what this does allow you to do is it does let you do slight more variance in the grays, like for instance my hair. The other thing that's going to help is the solidification of this. So if I go and I say show me only the white, and I'm going to bring this down to the bottom, what you're going to see is does my mouse show up? Okay, my mouse should show up. Yeah, it does. So in here, it's not very solid. It's very green, right? Where that hair meets right here. It's kind of very grayish. You're going to see a lot of noise in that area. That is because the solidifying of it. Wow, really, Wirecast? Just give me the same thing. By the way, that's the problem to the multi-viewer. For anybody who doesn't know, multi-viewer, if you go out of computers and different applications, what you do need to do is make sure, I should have done this ahead of time, do not hide when you're in the background. Anyway, what you want to do is make any type of adjustments that you can, but I'm going to throw this back to white channel, and I'm going to bump that solidify all the way up, just as an example of what not to do. Now you're going to see there's no longer that grayish type hair that's shining through here. It's a far more solidified version of this. That's what that one does. So while it's not good to have it full, you can definitely do that. And then you can bring that transparency down to wherever you need to. This may also help with hair that's a little bit more flamboyant or less cut. And then edge coloring, you're not going to see too much on this preview, but what that edge coloring should be doing, and I say should because I haven't really seen this in this, is it should be decolorifying that green edge along things like my face or the hair. It should be making it less green, as if you had a proper lighting system with a backlight behind you to help out with that. So yeah, spill suppression, the solidify, and the key threshold are basically the primary things that we used to have only, but now that we have a bit of more of control over the black and white clipping rather than a single point of line, far, far better, at least in my opinion. This looks like a really clean thing that I can then throw in. We'll say another background. So let me just pull up a background video file maybe instead of just doing this rather color. Let me grab a video file here just so that I can throw that on. I should have had one prepped, but according to obviously the current situation, I had not. So let me just throw in a personal conference calls and backgrounds and a Plexus background that I also had in that. So yeah, so let's just go to here. So obviously a nice active background with video. You're gonna see it's nice, it's clean. Ooh, a little bit on this side of the chair here. So let's go through and just quickly refine that. Maybe a bit more threshold and a bit more solidified on that. There we go. Was able to reduce that a bunch for that. Yeah, jazz hands. Really liking the refinement, really liking the settings for that. And again, if you don't want to use the 0, and you want to have it so that it's just picked, great. You'll notice that I didn't even, I'm able to click on the screen itself, even with the background replaced, and it's automatically chosen that color. Now, that auto color selection might be a little bit better than if you're doing the 00 FF00 if you haven't white balanced. The white balancing, obviously, with a pure green background will give you the best. Yeah, take a look, try it out, and comment down below if you have tested this and if you're liking what you're seeing. But I got to admit, I like the quantity of controls that I'm seeing here, and I look forward to seeing this, obviously, in the full release of 13.2. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.